Uh, yo, but bro, listen, like listening to Ham talk history is like, I mean, that's why he put his name Historian Ham, because
No doubt.
some legendary shit coming out of that brain there. You gotta protect that mind at all cost.
Hey
You hear
man,
me?
No doubt.
this is how I get through my workday, man. I listen to podcasts on historical and accurate, for accurate historical events.
Yeah.
This is how I get through my 8 hours a day on the clock. And sometimes when I'm at home, and also while I'm in the lab. So it's just what it is. Appreciate the shout
Hey,
out.
speaking of history, welcome, first of all, ladies and gentlemen. We are tonight's entertainment for the evening. Speaking of history, Views from the 22, live on the scene, Vic Jr., First Lady. You know my name, so I'm right there. The Godfather behind the scenes somewhere. You know, he's like in the corner of the room, no lights on, but you know
Chilling.
he's there. So just a
Chilling.
puff
I
of
got,
smoke coming from the
I
corner,
got,
Right?
I got a patted
like
melon
a
fries.
plate of
Man.
cookies sitting on a
They can't,
little.
yeah, they can't see me eating my patted melon fries. So
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
cool
yeah,
out on
yeah,
that.
yeah. Buy rates, buy rates, buy rates, buy rates.
It's like Joe Burrow right now, probably smoking a cigar under the lights. No lights this time.
speaking
It's just him and
speaking of
himself.
history, first of all, what I need, can we check the comments real quick, please?
Mm,
I am trying something different in terms of the audio, and I don't know if it's working or not. And the reason I am trying it is because I forgot my iPad. I'm not trying to do anything innovative, but I forgot my iPad. I don't have the headphones that I initially bought for recording podcasts through the laptop. Shout out to my beautiful nieces and nephews, because God knows only where it is at this present moment. So I am trying something different with the audio. So I need somebody in the comment section. I know Big Shot is on there
yeah,
to verify that there he is. Okay. Thank
he
you,
said
Big
all.
Shot.
Yeah, he said all good there. Audio good.
Thank you, Big Shot. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, let's get going. Speaking of history, enough teasing. In 2 weeks, we got a historic Super Bowl matchup. That, you know what? It should live up to the bill. All right. Not the Buffalo, that is, but it should live up to the bill. There is enough hype plus talent plus product on the football field that this should be a really, really good game. But before we get to that, because we got plenty of time to talk about it, let's talk about how we got there. Okay? So let's just dive right into it. We're going to start with last night with the Cincinnati Bengals at the Kansas City Chiefs in Arrowhead Stadium. Okay? Arrowhead. The B is not silent because there is no B in Arrowhead. Okay? Just letting y'all know. And KC, listen, to me, and I'll get into this later, Cincy cashed a check, or they wrote a check they couldn't cash. And the mayor got involved on it with a disrespectful ass paternity test. What? And I love Joe Burrow.
Absolutely.
But the one thing we not going to do is act like Mahomes is not that dude. The one thing we not going to do is act like Mahomes, we could leave the argument for later, is not the best quarterback in the NFL right now. Okay? I don't think anybody could disagree with that statement that I just made. The only person who can is not here. And that's Germ So True. But when he gets here, I will repeat my comments so he makes sure that he knows that I know what we all know about Patty Mahomes. It was a heartbreaking loss for the Bengals. Kansas City won that game 22-20. A lot of things happened from the offensive line, from Steve Spagnuolo's defense, from the quarterback play, from certain situational ball, and certainly even from the referees. So there's so many ways and there's so many things for me to discuss about this game. And trust me, we leading off with this game because this is going to be the bulk of the show, honestly. Because there's a few points to make about the next game, about the first game of the day, but yesterday was about last night. Yesterday's games was about that AFC Championship game. That AFC Championship game, to me, Vic, Tanya, Jay, the beautiful listeners, to me, last night's game was an accumulation of 15 years of evolution of this beautiful game. Last night, to me, brought full circle everything that this game has become over the last 15 years was summed up in 60 minutes of football in Arrowhead Stadium, okay? The matriculating of the ball down the field to the damn it, just throw it up and somebody gonna catch it, okay? To the full house formation, to the we don't even need a quarterback on the field to throw the damn ball. The discipline, no beef, no Lombardi. Shout out to the views from the 22. Everything that this game has begun, that has become, starting with Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, and then Drew Brees, Phillip Rivers, Ben Roethlisberger, and Aaron Rodgers added their flame to that torch, to last night with Pat Mahomes and Joe Burrow on the field, Jalen Hurts waiting to see who he's going to play. And I know Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, and Justin Herbert were watching that game. So I'm going to put it all together in this beautiful football conversation we are about to have. But like I said, Vic, everything that this game has become showed itself in 60 minutes last night in Kansas City, Missouri. Your thoughts, sir, on what we witnessed?
Well, that was a beautiful introduction to this football conversation that we so love to have. First of all, shout out to the viewers. First and foremost, we appreciate everybody joining us. I mean, like you said, man, that game, I mean, that's just a great way to explain it. That game told a lot of stories, including the last play or the second to last play, where the quarterbacks are just protected. You know, in the last 15, 20 years, we have seen changes in how much the quarterbacks are protected. You know what I mean? So any little step outside, out of bounds, you put a hand on that guy, they're going to throw the flags on you. You know? But shout out to Joseph Osai, defensive lineman out of Texas for Cincinnati. They found themselves a great player there, second-year kid. You know, he had a great game, made a lot of plays, and unfortunately, the one that cost him the most, for the most part, was that second one. But we can't blame him for that. The offense for the Bengals left a lot on the table. As we have Jerm coming in, shout out to Jeremy. I know he has a lot to say about that game as well. But the offense left a lot on the table, bro. I think that the offensive line showed its ugly face again. Did not protect Joe. Joe left some plays on the table as well. So, you know, the Bengals have a lot of blame to go around. So, you know, we can't leave the focus on just one play, one player. The kid was just playing his heart out. And as you watch the all 22 of that play, that kid, he was flying. And he was flying to get to the ball. He was flying to get to Pat. Pat left everything on that play, like everything he had on that play as well. Full sprint for both of those guys, and unfortunately, when Joseph caught up to him, it was at the wrong time. So And then you could see the whole bench for the Bengals on the all-22 just deflate. Some guys couldn't even look. Some guys were their heads over their hands over their heads. It was a very deflating situation, but Joseph needs to pick his head up because he's got a good future ahead of him. I could keep going, but again, shout out to Germ as he joins us here. What do you got, Germ? What you got going on, bro?
Hey man, first of all, shout out to everybody watching. Shout out to everybody there. Shout out to everybody on the live. True Man False World Report live, seen, represented. We are here. Hey man, I'm gonna be honest with y'all, man. I like to cut straight to the thing, cut to the chase. No pun intended. Odell Landry, T. Higgins, those two players just showed in this particular game that they are probably two of the most important players to the Bengals' offensive future, outside of Joe Burrow, obviously, and outside of an offensive line. As much as I love Joe Mixon, Joe was not really the factor that you would want him to be in a game like that. But I mean, part of that also was Zach Taylor. I also am not a fan of Zach Taylor, and you guys know that here on the scene. I am just not a fan of him. I just do not think that they can. I just think that this roster was ready to maybe make that jump this season, considering that they have all the pieces in the right place. I mean, that defensive play when Hubbard covers the ball up there to get the game tying score that comes up after that. Like, these are game-changing plays that were happening during this game. And I just noticed that more than anything else that happened from that situation is I noticed there's a lot of wasted, I don't want to say talent, but a lot of wasted opportunities. Cincinnati had a couple of plays, too, that they missed. Joe had a couple of throws that I didn't really like. I didn't like that throw up the seam there to T. Higgins late in the game. I thought that was a risk he didn't need to take. And then I also thought that the other interception was not a risk he needed to take either. I love the Bengals organization for where they are right now. I think that they are poised to be able to make a run the next 2 years. And I hope they come out with a championship in one of them years. But Zach Taylor may not be the key cog that stops them from being able to win it. I think it's a lot of questionable coaching calls and a lot of questionable decisions and a lot of questionable play calls. But besides that, just to go into the next stage of everything, shouts out to Kansas City. Shouts out to Pat. Bro, I got to say, man, there is not 5 quarterbacks in the world that I would rather watch play, no matter what talent discrepancy there is on the field. If it's Pat Mahomes, Tom Brady, I would love to watch them play. If it's Pat Mahomes playing a scrub, I would watch him play. Because you just never know what you're going to see from Pat. Pat, the way he gutted that victory out, the way he went after this game, put his body on the line for his team, man, kudos to that kid. This is the year that Pat is going to be the best in the world this
year. Yep. It's his year.
No
offense to Jalen. Look at Tanya. No offense to Jalen, Tanya.
No, and shouts out to Jalen as well. Like, we'll talk about Jalen, of course.
Yes, we will.
But I got to be honest with you, bro. Pat Mahomes this year showed that he is the best quarterback in the world, if you want to say he is the best quarterback in the world. I'm not knocking 12. I'm not knocking Joe. I'm not knocking nobody else. But 15 is just different. If you got 15 on your team, you got a chance every Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It's just, listen, what a player, man. But with that being said, I have nothing else really too much to add to that. But I would say one critique that I have for this Kansas City team. The Chris Jones show was all good just a week ago. But against this sirloin steak, creme la de creme, primetime beef, it ain't going down like that, Chief. I'm letting y'all know now.
Yeah, listen. Hold on.
We're going to get there. We gonna get there.
I don't know.
Well, it ain't
just
even
let
that.
me finish. Hold on,
Ain't
wait.
even
I'm not
that.
gonna say
Ain't
nothing too
even
crazy.
that. Ain't even that. It's just germ. The reason I'm interrupting you here, you know you're my boy, and I don't really interrupt you unless I think it's something extremely significant. All right, you calling them sirloin to me is an insult. Okay,
Oh no.
because but this is like a porterhouse. This is like a porterhouse.
Okay. How
We're
about
talking
that?
about the Eagles' offensive line.
Okay. How about a tomahawk?
That's fine.
All right.
But we ain't going, like a sirloin is like $8 at Texas Roadhouse. You know what I mean? Like we ain't doing that to the Eagles offensive line.
Okay. All right. You're right.
Okay, that's all I'm saying, brother. That's all. But carry on.
But so that tomahawk steak.
What if $8 is a lot to us, Mo? What if $8 is a lot to us?
All right, don't even take it there. Don't even take it there. All right, you mining and crafting and doing whatever you doing, moving bricks out here in Connecticut the legal way. Don't even come at me.
Well,
All right.
he said he was covered with white stuff. We don't know. But anyway,
Shout out to Goods.
hey, 7 streams of income. But with everything being said, but I just don't think the Chiefs got a big week ahead of them of preparation.
Yeah.
Because that Eagles line they are the real deal, and they are for real. And I must give this credit as well. I am in love with what I've seen from Jalen, and we'll talk about that later. I've seen some good things, and I've seen some very interesting things. But most importantly, just know Jalen Hurts season has been quite purdy.
Hey, oh, okay. Hey, last night the Bengals offensive line was Brocky. Tanya, we gonna let you jump in here right quick, because I got a couple questions that I'm gonna go around the horn, 2 minutes each on yesterday's game. So Tanya, give me a little, what you saw yesterday from the Bengals and Chiefs. Just your biggest takeaway, your biggest observation, whatever it may be.
For me, I mean, we talk about Patrick Mahomes all the time, but like I was going to say something I can't say on live. This man beat this team on one leg. He literally limped the whole game from the time they kicked off to the time they kicked the field goal. He only had one good leg.
No, for real.
Literally. So I kind of wanted to see what it would have looked like if he had, or if he wasn't injured.
Well, I don't disagree, but I think keep going.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. No,
I'm gonna let you finish because then where I'm going with it is where we go is the first part of my question, sort of, or one of my couple questions.
Oh, Cincinnati.
Yes. Talk about them.
No hate. I'm not being hateful, but Josh knows I'm not being hateful. But you can't talk all that trash and your O-line is trash. That you can't do that. Like, that's not okay. I feel like if they don't work on that in the offseason, it's not gonna be good. I don't think. I mean,
they were awful last night.
Awful.
And the thing is, Jerm, real quick, on the All-22, I saw a little bit of clips that I was able to check out. The Chiefs were running a lot of stunts, a lot of slants on them, and they just could not handle it. Hitting the gaps, again, Chris Jones was putting on a clinic. But there was another name that I'm missing right now on the Chiefs defensive line that was very 90 to 95, I think. Was very disruptive. Very disruptive.
I know who you're talking about. I can't remember the name off the top of my head.
Yeah, they had a couple guys for the Chiefs that were excellent yesterday, and I don't know if just as that they were good or that the Bengals offensive line was that bad, but they put on a clinic on how to block. How to rush the passer yesterday, and Joe just could not manipulate the pocket whatsoever. There was times where it looked like he could have, and I don't know if he just couldn't channel his inner Brady at the time. I don't know what was going on, but the coverages as well must have been like a little distracting for him, according to the way they were covering some of the guys, especially when Boyd was out. They double teamed the outside receivers, and he didn't know what to exactly. He hit her on some plays, but then he missed them on others. So the Chiefs' game plan overall was excellent against Joe.
So here's where we're gonna start because there's a
Carlos
lot.
Can I say one thing real quick?
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
Hey, so Tanya, just to give you something interesting, I think Pat being on one leg saved Pat from being too much a Pat.
Yeah,
I think
was
so
getting
too.
Mm-hmm.
I think so too.
Because you know what?
See,
That was one of the best pocket games he's played in a long time. And when I say pocket, I'm talking about some of those throws that he made to Scantling in this game were prime time big boy throws that probably only 5 players in the world can make. I mean, that one play that he made for the touchdown, the timing was even off, but he threw a
It was off.
laser. And I mean, he put it in a place that only Scantling can make a play. So I mean, I think Pat played one of his better games from the pocket, and when he needed it, but you know what that kind of gives me hope for? It gives me hope for when he is healthy, that he now has the understanding that if he wins from that pocket the way he is there, it makes his legs even more deadly, and it actually makes the offense even better and more unstoppable.
So why I say yesterday was 15 years of what this game was. And honestly, I know you could, for the most part, take about any championship game, or you could take enough championship games and one way or another make this point. But to me, yesterday was just, I don't remember a better example. It was just so obvious, just for me looking at it, right? May have not been for some people, but hopefully I'll provide some clarity on this. So I got 4 things written down here, right? Number 1, I wrote Mahomes' injury, okay? Injury. The element of that, intellectual quarterbacking, okay? Which a major principle that we talk about a lot here. Number 2, besides late hit, discipline, another major element that we talk about. Number 3, the Bengals offensive line, parentheses, Chiefs defensive line. No beef, no Lombardi. While the Bengals have the beef, the cattle was not in rotation yesterday. You know, they were missing. And number 4, if Steve Spagnuolo, and the reason I am mentioning him is because of something True always says, styles make fights. And Steve has often not been equipped with the best talent defensively from head to toe. But his style, the way he plays defense, that defense is going to give you a fight every single time. There has been some consistencies in his defensive and mainly his defensive line. And that's just where I want to start, because I think he needs his flowers, to be honest.
Absolutely.
We talk about a lot of things, especially when we're scouting, right? For defensive line, we talk about guys that know how to win. And we know about guys who can line up in different gaps. For corners, what do we talk about? Ball skills, ability to press, ability to play man and zone. For linebackers, what do we talk about? Ability to fill in where they need to clean up, and ability to get proper depth in pass coverage. Okay? And I think when you look at all this is going to be his 4th Super Bowl appearance or 5th. It's at least his 4th Super Bowl appearance as a defensive coordinator. Not as an assistant, not as a defensive backs coach, as a defensive coordinator. And it ain't been for no slouch now. Tom Coughlin and Andy Reid. You know? And you look at his defenses, yes, they've had great players, Michael Strahan, Justin Tuck, Chris Jones. But how often has he had the best? Bill Belichick had the best more than once. Lawrence Taylor, Darrelle Revis. Rex Ryan had the best. John Harbaugh had the best. Name other great defensive coordinators. They've had the best. And sometimes they've had the best on each level. How often has Spagnuolo had that? But Vic, Germ, Tanya, Jay in there, how many different fronts and stunts and looks and shifts did they give Burrow last night?
Yeah.
They gave him a ton. And they gave him fits for 60 minutes. Yeah, since he put up 20 points, they had to dig for every yard they got. You make them remember the night they played the Titans. That was all that was going through my head yesterday. Because
and the thing is,
go ahead.
No, and I mean the thing is, like I said, in all 22, you see some of the adjustments they made when Boyd was out, kind of doubling the outside. They bracketed Jamar Chase a lot. And Germ spoke about Zach Taylor and his coaching abilities. Where was the adjustment? You know what I mean? So, like, if your best slot receiver is gone, how do you adjust to that? Where was Jamar Chase in the slot? Where was at least T. Higgins maybe have some chances in the slot? There was that, like, that 2nd and 3, I think it was the third quarter, was 2nd and 3, then 3rd and 3, where Joe went deep, back to back. There was no short yardage plays for you. There was no draws that you could have, called or anything like that. So Spagnuolo really made them just uncomfortable, basically. And they couldn't adjust to that. You know what I mean? So, like, I'm pretty sure Jamar could play the slot. We've seen it happen in college. You know what I mean? So, like, Boyd getting out, then, Jamar, you have to be able to adjust. And Spagnuolo, made them very uncomfortable there in that situation.
Vic, let me take a step further. We've seen it this year. We've seen it in the offense, period. Where were the adjustments when you needed them? You could have stacked. You could have stacked Jamar and T. Higgins on one side of the formation and put Hayden Hurst on the opposite side, and you would have automatically rolled coverage and created some type of mismatch over there for Hayden Hurst or for another receiver. Or the almighty screenplay with P. Ryan or with Joe Mixon would have been perfect with coming out of a stacked formation like that. But the problem here is we got to stop making football so complicated and make football simple again. Mm-hmm. Your best player needs to be in positions that you only put your best player. Right. 4th down, 6 yards. Seam route up the middle. As a matter of fact, what's the correct terminology for the route where he kind of split? Because it wasn't a post, but he ran like a little stutter route there, and then he stutters in the middle of it, and then continues to go as if it's a post.
Was it sluggo, like a slant and go?
It's kind of a sluggo. It's kind of a sluggo concept, but it's not exactly a sluggo. Bro, he ran the route so crisp that there was nothing nobody could do. Again, he beat the help defender, and then when he jumped and made the play and made the effing catch, I was just like, wait, what? Like, what do you do to that? Like, what do you do to that when you have a player like that on your team and you don't get him the ball? And that touchdown throw to T. Higgins, bro, let me tell y'all something. Beautiful. That's what you pay a guy to be 6'5" to do.
Facts.
High point the ball. Why weren't we doing this more in the game, knowing that T. Higgins was a clear mismatch against those corners once Snead and those guys went out? So it's a lot, man. It's a lot of things I got to say.
Yeah, I mean, I could go all day about the film on that game. Like, there was some great throws that Joe had, and then there was some plays where he looked like he didn't know what to do. You know what I
Hey,
mean? And that's coaching.
again,
That's
that's
part of the
coaching.
growing up process. That's
Right.
coaching. So
And that's part of Steve Spagnuolo seeing it all.
right.
You know, Tanya, jump in there on anything you just with the defense, offense, adjustments, whatever you want.
I'm you know why I'm here. You know why I'm here.
Okay. Well, all right.
Real quick, Mo.
We'll
Real
get to
quick,
it.
Mo.
Uh-huh.
Just to get in a little bit on the Pat Mahomes. You know, I've had my reservations on him.
We sure will.
You know, again, I think that offense. I mean, Andy Reid. You said it on the post. You said, I mean, when is it time to start talking about GOAT conversations when it comes to Andy Reid?
But for real though,
he's one of the most ridiculous offensive mind this league has ever had. And the way he develops some plays and stuff like that. So I think that he has made his quarterbacks' jobs easier in comparison to other quarterbacks. But, you know, Pat this year grew up on me. I'm going to be honest with you. I think he's the MVP between him and Jalen, which we're going to see the MVP, the front runners for the MVP in this Super Bowl, which is great. Pat in the pocket has been outstanding this season. For him to have the receivers that he ended up having towards the end of that game yesterday, I mean, you know, not to disrespect MVS or anybody like that, but they're not Tyreek Hill and those guys. And I said it, if I want to see a Pat Mahomes when he no longer has that explosive player like a Tyreek Hill. And I mean, he showed up.
You got it.
He was in the pocket. He made
Yup.
some, like you said, some mental plays that is needed at that position. And then when he needed to get out of the pocket, when he needed to put 110% effort on a messed up wheel, he did it. So I mean, the dude he's definitely going to legendary status. But we can go on and continue because between him and Jalen, it's gonna be fun.
We got a lot to talk about. So let's talk about the Asai hit. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
After the game, Jermaine Pratt, good player,
outstanding.
When they were going back to the locker room, he was heard screaming, "Why would you touch the effing quarterback?" Okay. And that's the first discipline thing. First of all, Jermaine Pratt, in my humble opinion, is no longer welcomed in my locker room. That's just my humble opinion. Okay? You, as good as you are in this league, you are expendable no matter what. There are but a few exceptions. And I'm sorry to say it, but linebackers are like running backs. There's only but a few that are really, really good. The rest are all who's the coaching, who's around them, you name them, right? Excuse me. I'm not sure if I'm drawing a blank here. This might be Jeffrey, which is a hog wild devil dog.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I will get to he's got a lot of good questions, but I have no idea who that is.
I think I'm pretty sure it's Jeff. I'm pretty sure. But I just haven't seen that name in a while.
Yeah.
And I can't remember if that's him or if it's somebody else, but it does ring a bell. Or just a fine later. I'm not sure which penalty he's talking about there. If it's a side
Trent Williams.
Oh, okay, you're right. So the other one is, speaking of discipline, what do you think of the Trent Williams late game penalty? So on the one hand,
that's Trotter.
Oh, Kenny.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense. Okay. What's up, Kenny? Okay, that makes sense. Hot to the missus. We love the Trotters. On the one hand, right, because it's a great question, and I think it's a great comparison here, because they're two completely different penalties. On the one hand, you have a player hustling, who has played outstanding, and he is hustling. Let me tell you something, man. When a defensive lineman got to run sideline to sideline past a certain amount of yards.
He was sprinting, dog.
Bro,
Yeah.
it's like I said, you in the open terrain now. You know, it's a whole different thing. It's a different, like, because you got to remember, for linemen, everything is in a phone booth. You know, everything is in a phone booth. So now when we running, when he's just running, oh my God, I'm running.
Free,
you know,
free air, free land,
I'm being
space.
for real, dude.
I know.
For real. I'm being for real. Like I
No,
remember.
and Mo, if you see the all 22, like he's pumping. He's got the whole technique. It looked all pretty and shit until the end, you know.
Let me say something, right? My football career is nothing to speak about, okay? No, I'm being honest.
Yeah.
There was one play that we used to call where I would swing out to be the tight end, and it was a screen play to the wide receiver, and I would just have to, my job was to sprint and hit the cornerback. I could not wait till we call that play, okay? Because I'm like, oh, I'm about to run. And it is hard when you that size with that weight, and I'm not nearly his size, his weight, his speed. But it is damn near physically impossible to ask that man after a certain point to not do what he's instinctively taught to do. And I don't think he did anything egregious. Is it a foul? Absolutely. 100%. It's a foul. It's a flag. It's a late hit, undoubtedly, okay? It is in no way should define this young dude's career. And if I am his teammate, if I am his coach, in no way, shape, or form would I allow, or stand for anybody, particularly a teammate, ridiculing him, criticizing him, shaming him for him trying to make a play.
Well,
Jermaine Pratt is up to be a free agent. Be free. He is not allowed in my locker room. And I'm being dead serious. Last thing I'll say, right?
mm-hmm.
For Trent Williams, who cares? No, for real, who cares? Remember when the Seahawks lost to the Patriots and Bruce Irvin and Michael Bennett started swinging on everybody?
Mm-hmm.
Who cares? When you are that frustrated, you know the game's over, and yet somebody's still hitting you. Especially somebody's like, dude, who you messing with?
Yeah.
No, the Trent Williams thing, I agree. Uncalled for, unsportsmanlike, fine, suspension, all warranted. All warranted. But in the same bottom line, I am not going to judge Trent Williams based off of this.
Yeah.
And honestly, and you jump in here, Vic, my last point, okay? We should all do better as a society than to judge people based on actions they make out of anger or when they operating out of hurt. But I'll leave that for a different podcast.
Okay. You and your wordplay here. You need to stop listening to clips. So yeah, no, in terms of Trent, bro, like, listen, this dude is an all-pro first team left tackle, outstanding player. He knows his time is limited, and he knows they had an opportunity to go to the Super Bowl, and he was very angry at the result. I'm not going to judge him, and I'm going to disagree with you a little bit on Jermaine. It's the same thing with this Stephon Diggs situation out there in Buffalo. These guys are emotional about this game, man. I've seen it. I've felt it myself. This is like you're at the top of your game. You're at the top of what you worked your whole life for. And you want to show your name, your face, represent your family in a Super Bowl. You know, so I'm not going to judge Jermaine, just like I'm not going to judge Osai either. If I have my timing correct, Joseph Osai was still on the bench crying when Jermaine said that, so I don't think he heard it. Obviously, by now he's probably seen it on Twitter. But as far as I know, one reporter for Cincinnati said that when they went to go question Joseph, BJ Hill, defensive tackle for the Bengals,
Yes.
sat right next to him and said, if any of these questions go left, I'm gonna stop all of you and kick all of you out. So they had his back.
It's a
because they
beautiful
knew how
video.
the kid was playing.
Yup.
So great job by him. Great leadership right there. Jermaine, if I could bring back Jermaine, there's, like you said, there's not many linebackers out there that are good. So if you could bring them back, if you got it in the funds, you do that, because again, they're operating off of emotion right now. They're operating off of feelings, and in a couple of days they could hug it out. You know what I mean?
Very true.
So
Very
I mean,
true.
like I said earlier, just Joseph was playing his heart out, you know, and the Bengals sure as hell got a good defensive player for the future there for at least a couple more years.
Okay. So no beef, no Lombardi was my third element. Obviously, very much aware of how that ties into it. I'm glad that we have a member from 94 Feet of Life who is on the line right now. And I'm glad Big Shot is in the comment section. Because while we transition, and I make my next point, you know, if Jay or Big Shot or any of our brothers from 94 Feet of Life would care to jump on and add or dispute the words that are about to come out of my mouth, please, please feel free.
I'm off the mute, so you know I'm right there.
Okay, all right. So let's get into it. Now, the Eagles, as we know, won. They beat the 49ers. Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant. The fourth element was the quarterback, intellectual quarterbacking. And the biggest thing I wrote down was pocketability. Okay. Mahomes yesterday displayed tremendous pocketability. One of my biggest critiques of him early in his career was how far he would drop back in the pocket and then just leave it there, which is why New England had success against him, success, quote unquote, early in his career, which is why Tampa was able to shut him down in that Super Bowl. But he has evolved. And not only has he evolved, pocketability, which is a coined term by Views from the 22, has evolved. It no longer means what Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, and Drew Brees made it out to be, where it is step back, step up, slide.
Right.
Whereas with Tom Brady, the king of it. To me, he's still the king of it. When Mahomes and Deshaun and Russell, mobile quarterbacks that can throw at a high level, they brought a different element to what the pocketability is. You know, not only can you step up, not only can you completely leave the tackle box and create a new pocket, you have shown that there are certain basic fundamental mechanics that as long as they are present, you can throw off any platform. Have I said anything wrong, Vic? Okay.
Nothing here.
All right. To me, Jalen Hurts to Lamar Jackson is Jordan Poole to Russell Westbrook. I could be way off in this.
Fair.
But I've always felt that everything Westbrook was supposed to be is what Jordan Poole is evolving into.
Fair. But
and everything that Lamar Jackson is supposed to be is, in my humble opinion, what Jalen Hurts will turn into.
This is fair. But I went down a different avenue of thought. First of all, for the word pocketability, you sound like Clark Kellogg talking about spurtability and all that other good stuff that he talked about on his analysis. Shout out to Clark Kellogg. When you went into Also, when you talked about 15 from Kansas City dropping back in the pocket and dropping back, you know who else took advantage of that? AFC Championship game last year. I think it was an OT. I think that was the sack that Cincinnati got it to seal the win,
Yup.
if I'm not mistaken.
It was.
Great point. Great point.
And I wouldn't even watch the film like that. And I just got, that kind of, I'm the historian, Chief. Should I do this? When you started into the comparisons of what the quarterbacks now have in terms of the attributes, as opposed to thinking about it from the guard standpoint, I thought about it from the big man standpoint, where traditionally your big man, he got, had nice footwork on the post, cool, subtle skill set. He might be able to handle the ball within, 15, 20 feet, make his move off the bounce, face up, do some stuff without necessarily have to operate from a back to the basket post position. Today, we just saw this Saturday on the matinee game on ABC where Joel Embiid is going at Nikola Jokic. We got two-time MVP. We got two of the best two big men in the league when they're healthy, not named Anthony Davis. And you seeing them do all types of stuff that you're seeing guards do. So just the opening up of the skill sets is what I relate. Saying
that's a great point. Yeah.
You can go that way with the guards, the forwards. You can go that way with the other spots on the floor. But the one that initially came to mind, probably because I just saw it on Saturday, hit the head, was the big man. It's like, and I've been telling people on every show I be on, our show, when I'm on 98.5 FM on Fridays at 11:30, it's a plug. I had to plug that in. When I'm on that joint or any other podcast that I do, I'm telling you, in today's NBA, I don't care what your height is, what position you play. You got to be able to knock down the shot from 15 to 20 feet. It's almost like a prerequisite now for you to be effective in this league. And I look at it from the quarterback standpoint. You can correct me if I'm wrong on this one, but if you're going to play quarterback in this league, you got to be able to hit on the throws. And I look at it not so much as hit on the throws, and people debate this with me, but you have to be able to show the ability to win with your arm in January. Not necessarily do it, show the ability to do it by just having the arm. This is why Kirk Cousins got paid.
Yeah.
His arm has the ability. This is why we're at the stalemate with 8 in Baltimore, because he has not shown the ability to win with his arm in this month. I will let you gentlemen and First Lady continue.
And I don't want to make this conversation necessarily about Lamar, but this is more about Jalen. And also, this is a conversation that's usually a behind-the-scenes thing with us, and people getting a little peek because, Big Shot, we could be having a conversation about food, and we could give it so many different layers, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
So to me, Jay gave a whole different perspective, which is completely accurate. Wasn't even the angle I was going with. I was more so going with the fundamentals angle of it. But you jump in here now with the whole everything what I just said.
What Jalen Hurts does really well at a young age, and I know the term game manager gets thrown out as a diss.
Right.
But in his case, it's not, because what he does very well is he doesn't make mistakes that are going to kill you. So you look at his passing numbers. I think during the season, he had 4 300-yard games, which in today's NFL is not a lot. But he only threw 6 interceptions. And so he's really good at managing the game, not making mistakes, but he also uses his legs at the right time. See, what the other quarterback, who we will not mention because it goes down that rabbit hole,
right,
is Jalen uses his legs really well to extend the play to then throw. or he'll use his leg very well when there is no other place to go with the football. So he's going to, and I think this will be a very interesting thing in 2 weeks, is going to be him just continually, and again, it's not a diss, to manage the game. Jalen is the point guard, and that's gonna have like assist to turnover ratio. He gonna have 10 assists to 1 turnover. Yeah. He's not gonna put the ball in harm's way. Even though he got great receivers, he's still not gonna put his receivers in a bad spot. He's not gonna put you in harm's way, which is what you want your quarterback to do when you have all that talent around. So I love the way, I think his game, the cerebral part of the game, he's caught on to a lot faster than a lot of young quarterback, which is what you want him to do. So
He's
Tyrese
Halliburton. He's Tyrese Halliburton right now.
You look at his numbers, you say, oh man, it's only 22 touchdowns, 3,700 yards. I don't know, but he's not gonna put Philadelphia in a bad spot.
No.
He's not gonna throw a ball where it's not supposed to be. Last year he would force throw. This year he doesn't do that.
Right. And the crazy thing is, Ronnie, real quick, like he was even like that in college. You know what I mean? Like, even though there was a lot of throws he was missing in college, to the point where it was a turnoff, he wasn't turning over the ball though.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot of fumbling. There wasn't a lot of interceptions. So Jalen has always been a disciplined player. It was just like, damn, can this kid pass in the NFL? Can he make these outside the numbers throws? Can he make the deep passes? Can he threaten you deep? Can he threaten you midfield? And those were the questions. You know what I mean? So I thought Jalen was a day 3 pick. The Eagles thought he was a day 2 pick. And now he's a Super Bowl contender.
I remember our draft watch along.
Yeah.
We were all sitting here. I will count myself as one of those. It was like, what?
Yeah, that was early.
Yeah.
Not me though.
But to that kid's credit, to the credit of the Eagles and to his credit as developing, hey, you can't ask for any more than what they've gotten out of him and what he's gotten out of himself. I give him all the credit in the world.
And which is why we talk about constantly, you cannot underestimate a player's willingness to get better. And I think, like, again, why a biggest reason why I mentioned the Jordan Poole thing, just because, again, I was just watching the Warriors game the other day. Jordan can shoot, you know. You need shooters in today's league. Jalen can shoot in the football sense of the term, you know. And I think, just to go to Tanya here with the Alabama thing, like we knew Tua can shoot. Forget about his range, forget about the velocity and the strength of his throws. We know when Tua threw the football, it was a pretty ball. Forget the velocity, forget the distance, forget all that other stuff. Just, that's a beautiful throw. We didn't always see that with Jalen. But what Tanya will tell you is they saw enough. And nobody could tell them they were wrong, because obviously the Eagles saw enough. And now we're all seeing it. So go ahead, Tanya. Just talk to us about, obviously, Jalen holds a very, very special place in your heart. We know that. So the floor is yours. From how he was in Alabama, for what your expectations of him were, from what you saw this season, what you saw last night.
Well, see, it's different for me because not only is he my cousin, but like my brother used to coach against him in Little League. So we've been watching him since Little League.
Yeah.
So it's like, I guess it's different for me because I've been seeing that since Little League.
Right, no doubt. No doubt. Speak on it.
I'm not gonna get emotional.
Mm. So real quick, his father is a coach.
Is a high school coach. He
Yeah,
played for
okay.
his dad.
Yep.
Mhm.
Well, that's how
Um,
Vic, you saying that's our cousin. That's our cousin.
Yeah,
It's
that's
not
right
like
there, bro.
you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah,
So you should be getting friggin' emotional.
of course.
He's about to play
So
in a damn Super Bowl.
I know when I can't go. Oh, that hurts my soul. But
Yeah, I feel you.
but I think
Oh.
because see, I don't want to have a I told you so moment, not to y'all, but just in general.
In general,
Because
yeah.
I try not to do that. Because I know everybody sees see stuff differently.
Yeah,
The
no
whole
doubt.
the
I
whole
just
league
feel like
the whole league thought he wasn't gonna be that kind of player, and he showed that
right.
he is. You know what I mean?
Except for the Eagles.
He's proven exactly. He's proven. I mean, the Eagles picked him up in the second round, though. Mo, if they felt like he was gonna be great, they would have first round pick. You know what I mean? So
I wouldn't necessarily go that route just because sometimes you kind of know,
right.
you
What
know, like
everybody else
where,
is gonna thinking.
yeah, you
Yeah,
know,
they got the little insight. You know, listen.
yeah,
The kid proved to like 95% of the world that
Right.
he belongs. He
no
belongs.
doubt. And again, like that's the difference is that, like Big Shot says, they didn't have to condense their offense to fit his strengths. It was like, yo, what are his strengths? So if we go on a spectrum, and you pick Tom Brady's offense, you put Pat Mahomes, you put Kyle Shanahan, and you put the Ravens. Jalen Hurts is somewhere between Kyle Shanahan and Pat Mahomes. You know, you don't have to condense this offense to be something limited because he has the ability to make certain plays. And honestly speaking, his frame is just bigger than other quarterbacks that want to try and be this way. And he's starting to protect himself, unlike Tua, who doesn't have the frame. So, and then to compare him to Josh Allen, because again, very similar type quarterbacks, all these guys, he doesn't have the structure. Josh Allen prays he has the structure around him that Jalen Hurts does. And make no mistake about it, yo. None of this is meant to take away anything from Jalen. This is just highlighting the importance of culture, the importance of coaching, the importance of being in a proper situation, which I'm sure Big Shot, Jay, MJ, Trav, and Les especially can talk about. But for Jalen, it's just okay. If we are going to have more quarterbacks be like Lamar, like Cam Newton, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, Jalen is the model that we need. And that's just to me the truth of it. But True, jump in this conversation. We just talking about, I don't know what you missed. I'm gonna sum it up real quick. We talked about the four elements, right? And the fourth element was Patrick Mahomes, intellectual quarterbacking, more specifically pocket ability. And that term pocket ability, coined by Views from the 22, that term pocket ability has evolved, right? And it started with the king of the pocket, with Brady, and it evolved to Russell Wilson and Deshaun Watson and Pat Mahomes, where they showed us that as long as certain elements of the fundamentals are there, they can throw off any platform. And then Mahomes took that and expanded the pocket all kind of ways on the football field. And now you got Jalen, who's showing that you can function as a successful quarterback in certain ways, but it stays with the pocket, not to get too far away from it. How this conversation all kicked off was I made the comparison where, to me, and like I said, I could be wrong. This is why Big Shot and Jay are on here now. Where I made the comparison, Jordan Poole is to Russell Westbrook what Jalen Hurts is to Lamar Jackson. And again, it's more to highlight Jalen's growth more than anything, just because he's the comp. As the real estate term, he's the comp. And so we got to go by what the comp is. I see you smirking, Victor Santana. Hey, go ahead, John.
I love what you tried to do right there. Jay, I love that right there. I am not going to lie to you. But you know what? I'm going to say this. I think you compared a more complete offensive talent to a guy who's not as a complete offensive talent, but with an elite skill set. And I do think that still somehow fits, and that's scary. Yeah, that's. I like it. I like it a lot. I like it a lot.
I think it's just talk about it, like how much the position just keeps evolving, but nonetheless, you still need certain things, no matter what.
I don't think it's the positions necessarily evolving as much as the offenses are starting to be more predicated on having the athlete playing the position. Because it's no way around it, future, and the pun is intended here when I say future quarterbacks are going to be very, very, very athletic, because the athleticism aspect and the athleticism piece of scouting is becoming more and more relevant in each and every year that we scout each position. When we scouted Myles Garrett and then we scouted Nick Bosa, opposed to scouting Joey Bosa and Mario Williams, we scouted players that were, number one, they had natural bend, the ability to bend the corner and keep their bodies parallel to the ground to be able to avoid long arm tackles and go around the knees of those tackles to get to a quarterback and those type of things, while Mario Williams and Joey are more of the hand technicians, beat you with the physicality aspect of things. So when you get a freak like Nick or like Myles Garrett who can do both, and then you get the guy like Joey and Mario who has that one particular skill set, it changes the entire complexion of what a defense can actually do, because you have that guy that has that natural ability. And let's take it to offense now. Lamar's game-changing ability is his quick twitch ability. Those fibers in his legs are second to nobody. We have never seen a quarterback with the ability to be on his toes and in 1 second break you down and it looked like a crossover move. We've never seen that before. Vic was quick, but Vic wasn't like that. Vic was fast. So then you take the next thing and then you say, this guy has agility like a running back, with the speed of a running back, and then you say with the ability to make the throws in the pocket or outside of the pocket like a quarterback. That takes a lot of different things when you evaluate him. The problem is he doesn't have the best mechanics, the best footwork, and all the things, which are things that come with the position and comes with the position that he's in, because being the most athletic player on the field, you don't need to be the best technician. And that's what the ultimate issue that we have in our game today is the technician isn't the guy who's the athlete. The athletes are made to be the athletes, and the technicians are the guys that complement the athletes. And that's what we've done. The game hasn't necessarily evolved. The people have evolved, but then the scouts have never come back and evolved with the actual athletes, and they have not taken into consideration the evolution of the human being and how the human beings have gotten bigger, stronger, faster, which is why the game is still going through the metamorphosis that it goes through. But then we go and we take the fact that we are integrating now the college style offenses, which is these spread concepts and all of these different things and these mesh concepts. And now we're working more out of the pistol exclusively because we want to get the guys from up under center, because the quarterbacks are getting smaller and not getting taller. So you ask yourself, Is it better for him to be crouched down underneath the butt of a center, or is it better for him to be on 2 feet receiving the ball, pause, and then being able to then from there make a decision whether he's going to throw it, put it in the belly of somebody, or run it himself? And I think that is an easier read than is this a too high look, or is this a too safety look up here? Is this a cover 2 or a cover 3? Is this a combination coverage? I think that's a lot easier because it's only 3 players that you're reading, opposed to having to read an entire field of people and understanding the concept of the entire thing. And let's not forget this as well, fellas. It's easier and it's a lot easier to do, but it's a lot harder to guard.
Boy, hey, Durham just gave y'all a beefy 5-layer burrito with extra sauce. Okay, that was honestly a beautiful breakdown of what's happening and what's coming. No, for real. No, that was brilliant. That was brilliant.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure.
We are scouting these players every year, y'all. So it's so hard to not see where the game is transitioning and where it has been. Like, bro, Lawrence Taylor, for what he was, Lawrence Taylor was ahead of his time. Deion Sanders was ahead of his time. You see what I'm saying? These are guys that would have played in any era and been great.
Right.
Bro, I'm sorry, man. Bruce Smith could have played in any era.
Hell yeah.
But Bruce Smith is a guy that would have dominated in an era like this because he was still quicker than the average guy that played tackle. And you tell him that he can move in and play the fucking 3 technique, bro. Stop playing with me, man. Yeah. That's lunch meat. Stop. Just come on. Let's talk ball if we're gonna talk it. Make football great again.
Anything y'all want to chime in there?
First of all, Tanya, I'm gonna say this. I have a cousin who won 2 NBA championships. This is your moment as family.
Right.
These next 2 weeks.
Facts.
So you can say I told you so as many times as you want to.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
To be perfectly honest. And then
absolutely.
So
when I tell y'all I cried like a baby yesterday.
You should.
I'm crying for you.
And this is what Vic, Jerm, and Mo have talked about for 4 years. It also goes down to roster construction.
Yup.
If you look at the way Philadelphia is put together, again, this is not discrediting anything that Jalen has done, because Jalen has worked incredibly to get to this point. But as a young quarterback, that is a damn near perfect situation to be.
Yeah.
You look at the receivers they have, the fact that Philadelphia shot it off, actually used their running backs to gas, run the football. They have built a line. They've basically built a team and said, not that it's like we could put anybody behind quarterback, because you can't do that.
Hell no.
For a young player, he has everything for him to be successful for the next 5 years. Because it's just the way that team is built. And you look at Joe Burrow, you look at Josh Allen, who all have these good teams, but like these massive flaws. You talk about Joe Burrow's offensive line. You talk about Josh Allen, the refusal to run the football with running backs. Jalen Hurts doesn't have those problems.
Nope.
Which is why you look at he's like, man, not only is he having an MVP season this year, he's gonna be here for a really long time.
No doubt.
He was constructed perfectly for what he does really well. So
and shout out because first and foremost, the Eagles have been to 3 championship games in the last 10 years. So they're doing something good. But shout out to Jason Kelce and Lane Johnson, who have been there. I think they were there for that 2017. Super Bowl.
There are
So-
7 players on that team that are still there.
7 players. So I mean that. Oh, and then so then Fletcher Cox and Brendan Graham is the other ones, right?
Yeah.
There's some
So
other
you know,
ones too.
those are 4 guys right there that are on your beef that we talk about so much, that have survived this long in a league that is not for long. Basically, NFL is not for long. You know,
Nope.
so shout out to those guys, man. That I mean, I'm pretty sure they're the best captains that you can have in your culture right now.
Which again, go back to the 70s, right? Steelers. Go back to the 80s, Niners. Go back to the 90s, Cowboys, right? Those 4 teams, those 4 championship teams for Pittsburgh in the 70s, 85% of the players were the same.
Yep.
Way different now.
Yeah.
It's quite the opposite, if not more. You know, it's quite the opposite, if not more. And I think again, we talk about Jalen. Like, I'll tell you this: if Derek Carr was a quarterback, they wouldn't be here. You know,
You know what?
It's-
You know what?
I'm just being real. I didn't even. It's like you can name them.
Yeah.
There's no guarantee about a lot of these quarterbacks that they'd have been here right now if it wasn't for him. There's just no guarantee. But again, big shot. Peyton Manning had good teams. Drew Brees had good teams. Aaron Rodgers had good teams. Tom Brady had good teams. Ben Roethlisberger had good teams. Joe Burrow got a good team. Pat Mahomes got a good team. Like this is the NFL. You know what I mean? Like you should make no apologies for having a good roster because that's what it is.
That's how you get.
You're not go-
That's how you get to 14-3.
Exactly. Exactly. You know, and Jalen is not at that stage in his career right now where he can elevate others around him. But one thing he will do is match the energy, you know? And again, no knock, because it took till year 4 or 5 for Mahomes to be in that category. So, it took Peyton till year 4, it took Brady till year 6, maybe, to get to the point where he's elevated others around him, where you started hearing about the Bethel Johnsons and Chad Jacksons of the world. You know, it took a while.
Quarterbacks not only have to play the game to their best ability, but they also have to coach everybody. So they have an impact. That's why, for me personally, and I'm sure you guys agree, the quarterback is the most important position in the sport. And for Jalen to be where he is right now,
100%.
He must be looked up to as a great leader.
Bruh.
He did it in Alabama. I mean, he elevated everybody around him, regardless of how inconsistent his own play was. You can't. Oklahoma and I'm sure Alabama can attest to his leadership.
If you look,
let me throw this in there too, though.
If you look at Jalen Hurts, obviously it's a different type of player. But I'll take you back to the Cowboys in the 90s. Troy Aikman wasn't throwing the ball all over the field.
Nope, he sure wasn't.
However,
Hey, you want to?
Troy's a leader. I know what I'm going to get from Troy every Sunday, and that's Jalen right now. I know what Jalen going to give me every Sunday. He's not going to cheat me. He's not going to throw. He's going to take care of the football. He's not going to cheat me. He's going to lead his locker room. That's all he got to do.
Gonna be 22, 8 and 8.
We put the other stuff around him, he'll be just fine.
Yep.
That's how you get 14-3, and you play in the Super Bowl in your 3rd year in the league.
And Big Shot, you made some really good points there too. So shout out to you. But I want to say this too, just so people can understand how simple this really is. You made the point about the roster construction, right? They went out and they invested draft capital in receivers and free agent capital in receivers because their offensive line is set for the next 3 to 5 years and their defensive line is set for the next 3 to 5 years. And then on top of all of that, they made a free agent splash with James Bradbury to go along with the fact that they are locked up and sold up in every key position, and they still have a quarterback on a rookie contract. So this is the time for you to do what? make the splashes that you can in certain areas that you normally wouldn't if you're building a championship roster with a quarterback that you paid.
Yeah.
So again, no matter what way you cut it, slice it, dice it, flip it up, rub it down, we're gonna be right, because if you're gonna talk about football and you're gonna talk with views, we're gonna talk about it from the right perspective. How do you win and construct the championship roster? You don't do it by just signing a hotshot quarterback. You got to have the right draft pieces around it. You got to have the right free agents, but most importantly, your coaching staff has to get out the way and let the players win them. And what they did was they gave Jalen all of the things that he needed for him to be successful. And now they're in a position where they're going to be good for the next 3 to 5 years, at least. And Jalen has gotten better at two things: at seeing what's in front of him, number one. And people say, well, what does that mean, seeing what's in front of him? A quarterback's number one ability is to make sure they understand what they see in front of them and be able to react on it.
Processing.
So a linebacker, read, react, finish. A quarterback has a similar assignment: read, react, finish. Finish meaning complete the pass, complete the objective, complete the handoff, complete the down, complete the sequence. It's all the same.
And just to get a little bit more technical with his game, one thing that I started seeing and that was impressive of him is that, like, his second year, is he in his third year? It should be his fourth year, no?
This is his third year.
Okay, so second year, he started making a lot of throws on the outside of the numbers, outside of the hash marks, and they were consistently hitting. You know what I mean? So it's not like he's doing dump offs. It's not like he's just, one read and stuff like that. He's making throws outside the hash marks that are key to becoming great and elevating your team. Because, like Jerm likes to say, every blade of grass is important on the football field. So,
no doubt.
But Vic, watch this. Watch this. You know what made him a better player, low key? Playing with CeeDee Lamb. Let's not forget that Oklahoma team was in the top 4 in 1 year with Jalen being there as the starting quarterback. So again, like, listen, the questions are gonna be around the player, but the player ultimately has the last say on what we see when it comes to the all 22 view in the sky. And Jalen has overcome so many deficiencies and flaws because he stayed true to the game.
Facts. Yo, we're going to leave it right there. Shout out to everybody in the comment section. We're not coming off the air, but we just want to let y'all know we are ending the show. So we're going to stay on the air. We're going to stay talking because this is a beautiful conversation. So we just going to keep recording and we just going to keep talking. Shout out to Alfonso. Shout out to Kenneth. Shout out to Tanya.
Yeah.
I don't know. To everybody in there.
I don't know if Kenneth is still on, but Jerm, he asked, I don't know if you saw his question earlier. He said,
real quick, Vic, before we log out, because we're gonna log out, but we're gonna keep it on. I just want to end the show, okay?
Yeah.
So tomorrow you got 94. I know the Dish and Stoppers Time are coming. We coming probably Thursday or Friday, and then maybe Sunday. So keep it locked. We're gonna be here. We have a lot to talk about when it comes to this game. But go ahead. Views for the 22. We out of here. Vic, talk about Ken at this point. Hey, yo, if anybody wants to jump on, like I said, we watch your curse words because the show's over, but we still recorded.
Okay? That's why I'm not talking.
No, he asked earlier if there's if there's any weakness on the Eagles' offensive line. And I was my response was gonna be that if somebody gets hurt and Andre Dillard has to come in,
that's about it.
That's gonna be about it right there. Because all 5 of those guys are playing outstanding football right now.
Yeah, but when was the last time we've seen Dillard play?
He had to come in for Dickerson a couple times the past few weeks. Dickerson
right.
keeps getting hurt.
You're right.
Okay, now wait a minute.
See, let's have some fun with this for 1 second, y'all. 1 second. Do y'all want me to be honest? Those tackles can be tested. Lane is getting a little old, and the left tackle can be tested.
What you mean, bro? This isn't.
Yeah,
They
but
can
Lane,
be tested.
Lane's
can be
playing
tested.
right tackle, bro.
He's
No
an
doubt. I don't
right
disagree.
Tackle, Jerm.
Now, no, but I'm not saying. But listen, but they asked the question. I'm just answering the question objectively. I think their center to guard combination is probably top 3 in the world. I just think that they are in sync. Like they are 98 degrees in sync, Backstreet Boys. I want you back like that.
But it's been like that for like 7 years, bro. Because like when we were watching the film on Carson Wentz and the things that they were able to do, I mean, that offensive line was like music. I just love watching offensive line play. So it like, I might exaggerate the way it is or whatever, but on film, watching the offensive line flow the way that the Eagles offensive line has for the last decade almost. I mean, the debate between Cowboy and Eagle fans used to be, who has the best offensive line. And at one point, the Cowboys had like 3 All-Pros. When it came to Travis Frederick, when it came to Tyron Smith, Zach Martin, but the ones that are lasting longer right now in this league is basically the Eagles' offensive line. So, I mean, it's been fun to watch those guys, and it's gonna be fascinating to see how Steve Spagnuolo attacks that offensive line. See if they can slow down the Eagles, because it's gonna be it's gonna be tougher than the Bengals. Let's be honest.
Man, I'm just gonna be honest with you. It's just gonna get physical. It's gonna get nasty. And
No
it ain't
doubt
much
it
that
is.
nobody can do, and it's not much
It
that you can
definitely
do.
is.
Chris
And
Jones.
I want people to remember this other thing. I need people to remember one more thing too. And this is the most important part of everything I need people to remember. The hardest part of this game for either team is going to be the first quarter and the mental hurdle of getting through this first quarter.
Mm-hmm.
So whoever gets through this first quarter unscathed, playing their best football, is probably going to win the game. And that's just being honest, because I ain't trying to be funny. This is one team, Pat, you cannot get down double digits to, because they won't stop running the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
They will not stop.
Yeah.
No mercy will be implemented in this particular game. So I need people to understand, if we're going to do this, we got to do this the right way. And the right way is, y'all got to understand just how physical this Eagles team is going to play. They're gonna be smash mouth. And I hate to tell y'all this, if they get to averaging 10 yards a carry, we may just abandon throwing the ball altogether.
They were able to move
what type of team. That's just what type of team they are.
I was surprised. Like, I don't know, man. Like the Eagles every game proved that they were a great team. And I still have my doubts against the 49ers. And they just ate them alive, bro. Like, this shit was like, come on, man. And I saw only like the second half. And it was just like the 49ers were not the same team they were last week. Like, it was ridiculous. They couldn't do anything defensively.
It was a lot going on though. They had a lot going on.
Yeah, but the 49ers,
it was stressful.
The 49ers always seem to have something going on at the end of the season, man. Some sort of drama, some sort of, if it's not Jimmy, if it's not injuries, they always got something affecting them towards the end.
Hey, you know what would solve all that?
Shut up, Mo. Nobody want to hear that. Nobody want to hear that.
Hey, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen now.
Don't nobody want to hear that.
Brock Purdy had one chance. Brock Purdy had one chance And now you got your homegrown boy gonna come home.
Hey, what else? Well, I'll play even a little Bon Jovi for you, Tanya. Who says you can't go home? You know what I'm saying?
No, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear
All
it.
I'm saying.
Get closer to the camera. I want to see your pretty face.
Listen.
I want to see your pretty face. Get closer to the camera.
What? The light. What is it? Let me turn around.
Yeah,
The
the light.
light. What do you want, man?
Why are you
Better light.
opposed to
Yeah, ask her, yo.
That's
Ask
what
her.
I want to know. What is the opposition here?
The man
in
just joined the AARP last week. It is time. Let that man go home.
He don't want to.
Here's my question.
Let that man go home.
Here's my question, though. Who's he going home to?
Exactly. Now he gets to go home to California.
The only person that will stop Tom Brady from playing football next year is Giselle.
Then you need to start writing her letters again.
If she says, mira, mi amor, aquí,
and she couldn't stop him the
conmigo,
last
mi
10 years.
corazón, you know, it's a whole different vibes, you know? You should put a little sweat rice in his food. You never know. I don't know who knows what sweat rice is, but some of y'all do.
I mean.
All right. All I'm saying.
She couldn't do it. What? She couldn't do it. She couldn't
do it for the last.
Yeah, but Vic, the reason she couldn't do it was because she been there. You know? Now she hasn't been there.
So he was
all of a sudden,
comfortable.
Yeah.
So he was comfortable, and now she made it uncomfortable. Now he's thinking, damn, the grass is not greener on this side anymore. Is that what we're talking about?
I'm not saying that you or me have knowledge in this matter, but you know, when a toxic man gets comfortable, you know, if when a man gets comfortable, let's be real here.
Yeah.
Ooh,
when a man gets comfortable, right?
We recording. I'm not about to say a word. We are recording.
No, you're gonna speak when you need to speak.
If the inner toxicity kicks in and takes over, forget it, dude. Forget it. Like, whereas before you used to wake up, and I'm just giving examples here, you know, whereas before socks was always in the hamper, you know, now socks is around the bed, you know. Whereas before it's like, baby, you want me to put the laundry basket in the room? Before it's like, it's over there. It's by the closet, you know. Whereas before
we used to cook a couple times a week, now we don't.
You know, certain things. Before it's like, don't worry, baby, we got all night. Now it's like, I got mine. It's just, it becomes a little, and again, I can neither confirm nor deny whether I am speaking from experience. This is all per sources of Chris Broussard, okay? All I'm saying, okay? And Tom is a Leo, okay? Let's not even talk about them.
I didn't know.
My point exactly.
Let's not
My point exactly.
I'm a Leo too. I'm a Leo too, girl.
Okay,
I'm a Leo too.
And
you're supposed to love me.
And listen, I am a Cancer, okay? And in my humble opinion, Cancers and Leos are twin flames, okay? When we get comfortable, if that inner toxicity takes over, it's not sensational, okay?
We know.
I'm gone.
We know.
I love you.
This is why we ended the show. Just for clarification.
Jerm, where you going, Jerm?
What in the views after dark is going on here? Hey, listen. I'm here at the work spot, man. I'm getting ready to you know, get out of here, get to the house, man. Everything else like that. So look, if y'all still on, by the time I get to the house and everything, I'll jump back on with y'all. I'll probably.
Well, we're gonna end the show officially. I'm sure we'll stay on a little bit longer, but shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to everybody in the comment section.
But appreciate y'all. We're gonna probably come back and do some more stuff this week and next week because we got a lot of good stuff to talk about with these matchups. And I'll be diving into some of the film from some of this from some key matchups that I have that are not the offensive line this week. And I just want y'all to know we got a very interesting matchup this week that I actually think favors the Chiefs more than you may know.
I like it. Take us home, Drew.
So 22.